Hello, you two. Now, do you know the story of Moses? You do? Here's an adaptation of it, made by DreamWorks. That's animated and musical. How does this work again? Really, how did this movie actually become good? Because it's an animated musical of this. How did this become a good movie? I don't know, but somehow DreamWorks did. Okay, so it's the story of Moses and how he was dead, drifted in a basket as a child, and then found so then he could be saved from the Pharaoh. Then ironically ends up at the Pharaoh's house. Coincidence, I guess? And then is accepted as the new Prince of Egypt. Pretty dang easily too. I mean, the only time Ramesses seems to look like he's actually a little bit upset about this is at the beginning. We never really see how they grow up, which I guess is kind of interesting, but really, did he ever get angry at him? I don't know, but maybe he did. And then, after finding out that he was originally a Jewish slave, and also having killed a man, he decides that he can't stay in Egypt anymore. So where does he go? To a more desolate part of Egypt. Okay. And after going there, then he decides to try and get a new life and then he actually gets a new wife named Zipporah, a new father-in-law, and multiple other new family members who take him in. Pretty surprisingly well, too. I dare say it's even a little bit too fast. But I guess it kind of makes sense. Because they have a montage song. And in movies, that fixes everything. And then, after getting a message from God, he then realizes that he should go over to Egypt and then demand that his brother sets his people free. His brother, of course, refuses, not wanting to give up his contempt for life, and then with the help of God, Moses causes the 10 plagues, and which results in his people being freed. Oh yeah, spoiler. His people get freed. But what really makes this story work, and I mean like what really makes it work, is the fact that they focus more on them being brothers. In this movie, Ramesses and Moses are brothers first, enemies second. And that is really interesting to watch. I mean, when Moses first comes back, Ramesses actually thinks that he came back for them to be brothers again. But then when he finds out that he came back just to set his people free, he's heartbroken about it. But just because of one little thing that his brother said, that his father said, that automatically makes him say, nope, I'm not gonna be the weakling, so I'm gonna have to make sure their workload is doubled. Our father will be okay with that. And it is very interesting to watch. Especially in the plague scene, which I'll talk about later. But the brother and brother relationship is what makes it so good. I mean, it is just a great relationship to watch. And it's really nice to see it be brought up. How in the Ten Commandments it's kind of touched upon. This movie, it's the main focus, which really makes it extremely interesting and keeps you very concerned for the characters, because you do feel for them. They have a lot of screen time, and you want them to end up alright. Of course, for Ramesses, he ends up all alone, in which I generally feel bad for Ramesses. I mean, you see him on a rock in the end, screaming out to his brother Moses. That made me really sad. I feel bad for his brother. And, you know what? The movie gave me all reason to. And Moses got a happy life. I really feel bad for Ramesses. But I'll talk about him later. But there are other characters that do make this good. Which, again, I will talk about later because I'm in the story part. And I keep on forgetting that. But, so the story is very interesting, mainly because of the sibling relationship. In which you might know sibling relationships in anime films from Frozen or something. But for me, I know from this movie. So, for this great sibling relationship and the well-executed story, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Oh, and also, there are a lot of silent moments in this movie. Yeah, DreamWorks can do silent moments. Like, after Moses meets God at the burning bush, that whole entire explanation to him and his wife is completely silent. And we had to guess what they're saying, which is just really cool. Because you had to take into account what just happened and what he's telling her and how he would explain it. So it's extremely interesting to see what you can actually put in there. And also, I will be putting a link to this movie down in the description so then you guys can check it out because it's a great movie. Okay, so the characters in this, to me, are what makes the movie work. For one, there's Moses, who I liked a whole lot more in the first half. Yeah, he's so much more interesting there. I don't know why. He has more of a personality to him, I guess. But in the second half, he sort of just feels like a plot device and less of a character. It really just seems like he just went awry. Like, he was interesting for a little bit, and then lost all his interesting qualities and just sort of, with the help of God, helped make the template. So, yeah, at first, he's really interesting. He's kind of a guy who would get in trouble, but would always find a way to fix it. And also, when he figures out that he was born a Jewish slave, then of course he's torn up about it, and it's extremely interesting. But after that, he just sort of goes around in the desert, and I guess his character got lost there. Because after that, he didn't really have much of a character. And if he does, then it's a completely new character. Not the one that we were at all acquainted with. So, to me, he sort of lost his personality. But one of the characters that did keep their personality and actually got a little bit more interesting in the second half was Ramesses. Who, oh my god, I love this guy. Ramesses is a great character. His character is really sad because he still wants to be brothers with Moses. I mean, they're brothers first and enemies second. But he still wants to follow in his father's footsteps, in which makes it extremely difficult for him and Moses to be brothers again. And oh my god, this guy is just great. Whoever played him, I think it was someone named Ralph Fiennes, or Billy Fiennes, or someone with the last name Fiennes. He does a chilling performance as this guy. I mean, oh my god, this guy is great. This guy was the perfect pick. DreamWorks, you did wonderful with Ramesses. But one character but of course he had to follow someone, which is his father. And, god, this guy, I just want to deck him. I really do. I want to punch him in the face or something. I want to hurt this guy. I mean, he's allowed children. Somebody get me up to that palace and let me punch him in the face, because, God, the most annoying thing is that he says that he was doing it for the goodness of his people. Well, if that's true, then most of your population is your Jewish slaves, so frankly, you're hurting your people. So, of course, I don't like him. But he does have an interesting wife. Yes, I don't really know her real name, and if I did, I could pronounce it. But she's extremely interesting. Or at least motherly. She's definitely motherly. That's the best word to describe her. She is warm, she is caring, yet she's also tough and well-rounded. So, yeah, she's extremely interesting, and I wish that she was in this movie more. I mean, she's only in, like, the first half, or at least 1/3 of it, but, oh my god, I wish that she was in the full movie. She is just really, really interesting. And then we have Moses' mother, who is basically the exact opposite. I mean, god, for the good mother they have in this, they have a really bad one. And which is Moses' mother. I mean, I guess she's doing the right thing, but God, she has no character. What was her character? Nothing, because she doesn't have one. All her character is being a mother, I guess. I don't know. She's really uninteresting. And then there's Zipporah, who's Moses' wife. And really, I found her interesting in the first half, just like Moses. In the first half, she's tough and doesn't want to put up with any of this crap of being a slave, so she escapes. And that's really interesting. I mean, she didn't want to go through any of this, and that makes sense. But after that, then, of course, she's a little bit mad at Moses. But aside from that, her character that was seen in the first half is gone. And she's just sort of his wife now. But I guess it makes sense. I mean, you do have a few years to decide to become acquainted with one another and actually get married. So yeah, I guess that they could have had a lot of time, but in the second half, she's practically gone. I mean, really, when they get to Egypt, she only shows up for like one song and coming there with Moses, and that's it. And try and comfort him when he was struck to the mud. Ooh, yeah, you're real interesting. But yeah, aside from that, she lost all character. And then there's Moses' sister, who, I don't know, why was she so boring? She felt like a clone of Moses' mother. Like, oh yeah, we don't want to reshoot any scenes with Moses' mother, so let's just get her in. I think her name was Marion, but yeah, I don't know. Marion, you were boring. But then her brother sort of makes up for that, who was named Aaron, played by stuttering Jeff Goldblum. And he does have his typical Jeff Goldblum-ness, I guess, in this role, but he does say the word a lot. Like, he does say the word a whole lot. Like, there's one scene where he just says it so many times. I'm just like, do I have to get a counter for this? But yeah, he is still very interesting, and he's kind of a doesn't want to take chances type, which of course is extremely out of character when he's actually the very first one to go into the parted Red Sea. So, character development, and then end of story arc. And then there's Hodep and Hoy. I think I pronounced their name right. But God, these guys are fun. One of them played by Steve Martin, the same guy who played the dentist in The Little Shop of Horrors, who was my favorite character in that movie. So, of course, I expected a lot from this performance, and that's exactly what I got. But at one point, they make one of the strangest faces I have ever seen in a song. I'm sorry, this face needs to be addressed. Okay, here it is.